Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are talking about what is, quite literally, a software upgrade for your mind. If you've ever felt like your brain is just kind of working against your own happiness, well, you are definitely not alone, and I want to assure you right off the bat, that is not a personal failing. It's just biology. So in this explainer, we're going to crack open the exact neuroscience you need to build true, lasting happiness. We aren't talking about temporary mood lifts or quick fixes today. No, we are looking at the actual structural changes you can make to literally rewire the way your brain processes your daily life. So, a huge question to start us off. Is happiness just a personality trait? It's so incredibly common to view it that way, right? We tend to think, well, I was simply born a naturally happy person, or I was born a pessimist, and hey, that's just the hand I was dealt. Well, I want to completely debunk that myth right now. Happiness is absolutely not a fixed trait you are simply born with or without. It isn't permanently hardwired into your DNA. The science we're about to unpack proves this beyond a shadow of a doubt, and honestly, the reality is so much more empowering. All right, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll decode your brain's default setting. Then, we'll equip you with 3 very specific tools. Habit 1 is negativity interruption. Habit 2 is deliberate savoring, and Habit 3 is intentional play. Finally, we'll wrap up with why this rewiring absolutely requires daily practice. You are going to walk away from this explainer with a highly specific, totally actionable toolkit. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, your brain's default setting. Let's be real for a second. I really want to validate the modern stress you're probably feeling. Because feeling anxious or dissatisfied when things around you are technically fine, that is not because you're broken. It's actually because your ancient biology is doing its job a little too well. Think about it this way. Your brain comes factory installed with a built-in negativity bias. It was perfectly designed to keep your ancestors alive by constantly scanning the horizon for ancient threats. Tigers, famines, genuine physical danger. And it worked flawlessly for thousands of years. But in our modern world, where there are 0 tigers roaming the streets, we have all these modern stressors. Unread emails, social media, financial pressure, constant comparison. The absolute crucial point here is that your ancient survival system treats an unread email exactly like an ancient predator. The result? A brain that defaults to worry. A brain structurally biased against feeling happy just to keep you safe. But here is the incredible news, and it is anchored in hard science. It's a little word called neuroplasticity. That's just the biological reality that the human brain remains physically changeable throughout your entire life. It's like a giant, adaptable puzzle. New neural pathways can be built, and old, unhelpful ones can be weakened. So I want to assure you right now, that stressed-out brain you might be working with today, it is absolutely not a permanent fixture. To really put that into perspective, let's talk about some amazing evidence. In a remarkable study, neuroscientists at the University of Wisconsin looked at the brain scans of thousands of people. Participants who reported high well-being showed incredibly strong neural connections in the areas of the brain responsible for positive emotion and resilience. On the flip side, participants dealing with chronic unhappiness, they had very weak connections in those exact same areas. But here is the absolute kicker. When those unhappy participants were taught specific mental habits and practiced them deliberately, their follow-up scans showed that the neural connections associated with happiness physically grew stronger. They literally rewired their brains. This proves that happiness is a measurable, learnable, and trainable skill. It is not a fixed ceiling. So, let's transition into the first actionable step to start this rewiring process. Section 2. Habit 1, negativity interruption. This is a technique designed specifically to weaken those stubborn neural pathways of chronic worry we just talked about. There is this foundational phrase in cognitive behavioral neuroscience: neurons that fire together wire together. The biology here is absolutely fascinating. Every single time your brain thinks a negative thought, it actually strengthens the neural pathway associated with that exact thought. It's like walking through a snowy field. The more you travel that specific negative pathway, the more automatic and deeply grooved it becomes. For chronic worriers, worry simply becomes the brain's path of least resistance. So how in the world do we break that biological loop? We use a precise 24-hour action plan to successfully reroute the brain. Step 1, catch the negative thought cycling. Awareness is literally step 1. Step 2, the very moment you catch it, physically say the word stop out loud, or just say it really firmly in your mind. Step 3, Immediately replace it by observing 3 neutral or slightly positive things in your immediate physical environment. Stuff like, the ceiling is white, the air conditioning feels cool, oh, that coffee smells good. Notice, we aren't using toxic positivity or forcing fake affirmations here. It's just a simple redirect to what you observe physically, not what you feel. Doing this measurably weakens those negative pathways over time while building up circuits for present moment awareness. Seriously, try this for the next 24 hours. All right, let's jump to the next one. Section 3, Habit 2, Deliberate Savoring. We just talked about interrupting the bad. Now we really need to focus on how we capture the fleeting good moments that usually just slip right by us without leaving a single neural trace. This is honestly one of the most important discoveries in modern happiness research. Researcher Rick Hansen out at UC Berkeley uses this absolutely brilliant metaphor. He says negative experiences act like Velcro. Because of that ancient survival bias we mentioned, your brain processes and stores bad things in long-term memory almost instantly, just to protect you. Positive experiences, however, they act like Teflon. They are processed incredibly slowly, and they aren't automatically prioritized, which means they often just pass through your mind without rewiring a single thing. That is exactly why you can vividly remember a single minor insult from a week ago, but you immediately forget a beautiful moment of quiet satisfaction from this morning. So, how do we fix this Teflon problem? The answer comes down to a very specific time frame, 20 to 30 seconds. I really want to emphasize this. That is the exact physical gap required for a positive experience to actually transfer into your long-term memory and build a lasting neural circuit. Deliberate savoring means when something genuinely good happens today, even something tiny, like a moment of warmth in the sun or a quick smile from a stranger, you have to stop and consciously hold on to it for 30 seconds. Don't just immediately rush past it back to your to-do list. Let it fully land in your body. This isn't just self-indulgence, folks. This is hard neuroscience used to actively rebalance your brain's equation. Moving right along to Section 4, Habit 3, Intentional Play. This is the third and definitely the most surprising habit of the bunch. It sounds almost childishly simple on the surface, but I promise you, Dr. Stuart Brown's research at the National Institute for Play shows that this produces some of the most profound long-term structural changes in your entire brain. Let's trace what happens to us over time. In childhood, play is super frequent, right? And during play, multiple brain regions are activating simultaneously. It's highly sophisticated neurological work. But consider what happens when we hit our 20s. Play just kind of quietly falls away as life gets busy. Enjoyment starts feeling like something we only earn after we've been productive. By the time we hit full-blown adulthood, our brains pay a massive price. Because we stopped playing, the prefrontal cortex, which is the region responsible for emotional regulation and experiencing positive emotion, actually receives less stimulation and physically weakens. Our capacity for spontaneous joy goes down, and life just starts feeling heavy and rigid. So the antidote? It looks like this. Think of really fantastic, low-stakes examples of intentional play. Drawing or sketching, playing an instrument, and yeah, playing it badly totally counts. Experimental cooking, playing a sport strictly for fun, with no care about the score, building something with your hands, or just getting lost in reading fiction. The true definition of play is an activity done purely for its own enjoyment, without a specific outcome or goal in mind. I strongly encourage you to identify something you used to enjoy and schedule exactly 30 minutes of outcome-free joy this week. That 30 minutes is not wasted time. It is your prefrontal cortex receiving the exact neurological stimulation it desperately needs to grow stronger. And that brings us to our final section. Rewiring takes daily practice. As we bring this explainer toward a close, we have to remind ourselves that this mental software upgrade absolutely requires your commitment. The golden rule here is simple. Deep, lasting change happens from returning to these habits again and again until the new pathways become your brain's new default. I really want to summarize the core takeaway here. Consistent practice is the absolute key to the whole operation. You can't just read about neuroplasticity once and expect your brain to magically change, right? You are actively replacing a stubborn, ancient survival setting with a deliberate happiness setting. Negativity interruption, deliberate savoring, and intentional play, they have to be returned to day after day. So I want to end on a personalized note, and I want to ask you a simple, provocative question. What activity will you use to play this week? I want you to answer that for yourself right now. Pick something fun. You now know for a fact that your brain's current default setting is not permanent. You've got the exact scientific tools to change it. I want to leave you feeling empowered to immediately start your brain's rewiring process today.